Hey everybody, today I'm going to share my thoughts on a little something from Urban Decay called the Naked 3 palette. Packaging wise, it's the same really solid kind of palette as the Naked 2. It does contain 12 neutral eyeshadows. There's a mirror on top, and this one also comes with a double-ended brush that you'll see used in the demo. The most distinct difference right off the bat with this palette compared to the others is that this one contains a lot of rosy toned shades. Some very pretty colors that have a lot of pink in them, especially in, say, the first half of this palette. There are 3 matte colors in this palette. First shade called Strange. You got a color called Limit that's kind of a soft mauve, and then an even deeper mauve toned shade called Nooner. All of the rest contain at least a little shimmer, and then shades like Dust and Buzz definitely have some glitter in them. Overall, these are my kind of shades. If you've heard me talk about eyeshadows a lot, you know I love those shades that have a little bit of a mauvey tone, something rosy, and when you blend out colors with shades like Limit or Nooner, I feel like those colors really fade nicely back into your skin. As you look toward this side of the palette, you've got a lot of deeper taupe type colors, and I feel like there's not as much like difference between these shades. You know, there are some subtle differences, but as a whole, once these get to the point where, say, they're blended out on your eyes, I don't think they really seem that different one to the next. I've done some pretty pinky looks. I've done like a one shadow look with this shade called Liar right here, a great mid-tone shadow. I think a lot of these shades work nicely for just everyday natural looks with just 1 or 2 shadow pairings. For example, you know, you pair Nooner with like any of these lighter shades, and you've got a really quick look that's not too dark. And to just use any of these shades as like a one shadow look, that's very doable as well. How does this palette compare to the Lorac Unzipped palette? While the Lorac Unzipped is full of nice pretty neutrals, they take on more of a golden tone, whereas there's much more of a pink tone in the Naked 3. There are some similar colors here and there. I think overall, the Lorac Unzipped palette takes you into a little bit more of a golden bronzy brown tone, whereas this one is a little bit cooler and there's many more pinks in it. I really like both of these palettes. I just like them for different reasons. I continue to think that the Urban Decay Naked 1 palette has the best variety, from dark smoky to medium brown, bronze, golden, light, cooler taupe looks. Naked 2 is a palette that I've always liked, but I feel like it's never been a favorite of mine personally. I mean, I've done looks with it that I've really enjoyed. Some of the shades in here I think are really gorgeous. I've always liked Tease and YDK and Snakebite especially, but I just never liked this as well as the Naked 1. And then Naked 3 comes along with kind of a whole new family of shades with these pinky toned colors, and for me, it's rivaling the Naked 1 in terms of just my personal preference on the kinds of colors that are in here. I still think Naked 1 has the most variety, but I think this has just some especially gorgeous colors. I think there are a couple of questions you should ask yourself if you're thinking about picking this up. Number one, how important is it to you that there are a lot of matte shades in the palette? Because this one really only contains 3. I think there are 3 great matte shades, but I think it would be even better if there were more mattes in here. Also, I think you want to ask yourself how much you really enjoy the pinky tone colors in the neutral family. As for my look, I did use the smaller side of the brush that comes with this palette first. It reminds me a lot size-wise of the Sonia Kashuk small shadow brush. It's a little bit stiffer, like not quite as flexible, but it still works for packing on shadows. After my eyeshadow primer, I put on Strange around my inner corner. Then I applied Trick, which is kind of the peachy golden shade, a little bit different from all the pinks in this palette, which I feel like I have played with more. So I applied that all over my lid. Then I used the brush, the more full side, to put Nooner in my crease. This side of the brush is a little stiff to do a lot of blending, so I brought in my Sigma E25 to further buff that shade out. And then I went under my brow with Strange, again, that light matte highlight. And to provide just a little bit of depth in my outer corner, I went in with Dark Side, which is the second darkest shade in this palette, and I took that right around my lower lash line as well, and then I added in a little bit of Trick also, just to soften things out, and I used a smudge brush for that. And then I just finished the look with some black eyeliner in my waterline, my upper inner rim, my upper lash line, and some mascara. So I hope this video was able to sort out some details on this Naked 3 palette, filled with rosy tone neutrals and a lot of shadows that I think will allow you to quickly create little everyday looks that look very natural. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.